Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. How's it going, y'all? We're back from outer space. It's game dev time. Let me open up all the tools here. Tools for making tools for making tools. Deleted all those csproject.old files, even though I literally couldn't find anything about them on Google. Seemingly no consequences. Cleared up my file system a little bit. So what we're doing, so what we did, what we finished, quote unquote, what we achieved yesterday was this dotted, I call it like, you could call it like used rect or used volume. It's basically an outline of the area that's actually being used by the construction. So as we expand the construction, this used rect thing gets bigger. And it's three-dimensional, and it's designed to only, you know, create the one cube for the whole volume. Just give you something of an idea of where you are. Or not where you are, but the space that you're using. This is just a visualization of something we're going to use elsewhere. because we want to start using this boundary for things like rotation, because right now that's not really what we're doing. Like if I rotate this, it all goes over here. And in fact, the bounding box does not change to handle the relative view, which is actually maybe something we should work on immediately to make it view relative the same way that the autotiler is. So we need to fix that. I also want to have, if you're doing a selection, like if you're selecting an area to move it, like if you grab a chunk and you want to move it around like this, I want to see the selection box. So we want to enable that. And the last thing we want is to do like a hover selection box, something that lets you know where you are in 3D space. We had it before. It kind of like projected a... How do I get rid of this when I'm done copying stuff? I don't have a button to... What is this? Oh, escape, just close the whole thing. I need something to let go of a selection when I'm done with it. I need like a way of doing that. Gotta think about that. I'm actually not sold with the Control-C, Control-V stuff. Or the whatever the cut command is. Control-Shift-C. No, Control-X. Alright, I guess the thing to do, first and foremost, would be to handle the relativity, the relative view. So that when you rotate the camera, the used volume box that we make also is rotated. That seems like a pretty basic thing that we need. I wonder where that's happening for the regular autotiler. I wonder where we're doing that, honestly. There's some stuff here about... Sorry if that's crazy loud. There's like a wood chipper literally outside my window right now. I am using an AI voice filter that should be getting rid of background noise, but you never know. I wonder where we're doing this. Maybe it's here in the tool system. I would like it to be here. So here in the tool system, this is where we interpret inputs. And I would like to think that we're doing it here and we're simply reinterpreting the inputs for the new camera angle. Like if I play this and I just mouse around, so we're just gonna mouse around, and if I mouse over to like here and I change the camera angle, see, we're recontextualizing. You can see a little bit of a shift because there isn't a perfect, doesn't perfectly line up, but you can, I'm just rotating the camera and it's like catching up. Okay, so it's working at that level, but the problem is, and then if we draw something here and then we start rotating. Oh, that's not rotating. How do I rotate? Oh, it was shift direction. Okay, but you can still see that like where my mouse cursor is stays, even when everything rotates around it. And it's actually causing this system to, the boxing system, to misbehave quite badly. So what we need is the boxing system to follow essentially this auto-tiled floor around. And we gotta figure out where we're not doing that. So we're doing that all over the place. We're doing that kind of contextualization. I call it view relative, where we recontextualize the coordinates relative to the camera view. And we also have view absolute. Right now we seem to be stuck in view absolute. Maybe the problem is we are trying to project it relatively when what we want. What we basically want to do is whatever we're doing for the autotiler, we want to recreate. Excuse me, I'm feeling a little sniffly this spring here. All right, so when we do the hover is correct. And so what the hover is doing is it's taking the coordinates, it's converting it into an absolute view. Maybe we're not doing that. Yeah, I kind of want to remove the copy and cut commands, the copy, cut, and paste, and kind of just want to do a drag move. I guess I still need copy and paste. What I should probably do instead of copy and paste is have like a save as palette thing. Like be able to turn a selection into a palette brush so that you can paint with that brush. That's probably what I would rather do than copy and cut and paste. And it's my tool, so I can, I can do what I want, right? All right, so when we get down somewhere... Oh, okay, so there's really nowhere to do this, huh? This actually, I guess, needs to be part of the drawing function. We need to say something like, hide that. What we should do here, so we say auto tile editor grid bounds. We should say something like bounds. We should say something like, so here's the actual used bounds. What we want is we want something like input dot oh no, we want the block buffer dot bounds. So we want to say something like block buffer dot AABB dot view. Do we want to view this relatively? I think we do. View absolute. Let's try that. Let's just try to see if we can get this boundary thing into a view relative position and if that just works. It'd be amazing if that just worked. That would be great. That would be just great for us. If that just happened to be the solution. So we'll just draw this box and then we'll start rotating it, which is shift. That makes sense. Okay, so now it's gone and now it crashed. Huh. Its minimum and maximum is getting flipped somehow. Oh, I just added this AABB view relative. Maybe this is wrong. View relative. Oh, this maybe needs to be a little more complicated. I thought it was really easy. I thought we could just call. Maybe it needs to be a little more complicated than this. Okay, so maybe it needs to be like... So we need to return something. We need to return... So we get... We could transform the minimum and the maximum, but then we need to make a new minimum and maximum. So we need to say something like... We need to say something like... variable min. Or we should say something like vector 3i min equals view relative. Yeah, there we go. So like that, vector 3i max, view relative max. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually... These aren't guaranteed to be minimum and maximum, so what we need to do is we need to send... We need to say return new vector 3i, and we need to send in, we're going to pass in vector 3i dot min max min max. Oh no, we're sending an AABB. New AABB, vector 3i dot min, vector 3i dot max. All right. I don't even think we should call this min and max. We should call it like A and B or something like that. Maybe this works. Maybe this will work. If this works, we need to come back and we need to change the view ABS to be the same. So we do this, then we try to change the camera. All right, that worked. That was the magic. So now the bounding box follows the constructed autotile around. That's what we like to see. It expands because it's trying to also observe, it's trying to observe the cursor, but this is like exactly what we want. The only difference is when we do these rotations, we want to do the rotations based off of, so if we have this and this is our used bounds, and if I hit rotate from here, we would want nothing to happen. We would just want it to be rotated based on this boundary. Instead of rotating, right now it's rotating based on the theoretical minimum and maximum points, which is like from here. It's weird that I'm allowed to do this, but that this breaks. Fascinating. I need to figure out why that's happening. Yeah. Does that happen with the max point too, or just the min? Fascinating. Yeah, what does it consider this tile, I wonder? That works and that works, but for some reason the actual 0, 0 is a problem. But yeah, this is the area that it's considered the overall bounding box. And that's what it's rotating around, so the origin of this, which is why it's like flipping around like this. We want to not do that. And in fact, I kind of want the boundaries to be flexible based on what you're actually using, instead of having to be like based on some absolute. Okay, let's rewrite that function to be this, to be the same as this. Just the converse or whatever. It'd be cool if the system could tell whether a coordinate was relative or absolute. And so passing an absolute coordinate to the view absolute would do nothing. That would be pretty cool. I feel like eventually I want to figure something like that out. Because we use this everywhere, this kind of view absolute and view relative thing. But right now, the issue for us is that we're essentially... We essentially need to guarantee that you're passing in the relative or the absolute coordinate. And it's probably because I'm doing this really shitty switch statement where we check the angle of the camera view. If we used instead like a vector, I could probably, instead of having these negative signs, I could probably use the vector. But that wouldn't prevent me from accidentally projecting a relative vector again. Like twice. It would get rid of the switch statement, I guess. I guess I could pass vectors around as vector 4s and include their projection as like the W coordinate. That wouldn't really cost anything extra. And it would protect us against accidentally doing it more than once. Which would be interesting. I'll have to think about how I want to deal with that. There's probably a smarter way to do it. But we're kind of doing this janky thing because we have our own axis-aligned bounding box that is very particular to our purpose. All right, well, we did the thing that we wanted to do initially. Now we can move on to whatever the initial thing we were going to originally do, which I don't remember. We can either do the selection box or we can do the game input projection thing. I kind of want to do the input projection. What we need to do is we need to make sure that the hover levels is at the right coordinates. Okay, everything is at -16 except static levels, which is at -8. If I changed static levels to 0, could editor levels also be 0? Or is there a reason that it's at -8? I genuinely don't know the answer to that question. But I want to try. I want to try that. Because at the moment I don't understand why we need to offset the autotiler. Maybe it's because of the static. We have basically a tile map that doesn't move that we use as like a guaranteed backdrop to test our inputs against. Okay, I mean, that largely works. Oh, and it even works in this case. Fascinating. Oh, no, it doesn't. There's something happening at 0, 0 when you try to place a tile at 0, 0 that is just totally breaking the used bounds. There's something that happens when you get to 0, 0, and I need to figure out what it is. All right, the Z indexing is wrong because we're offset. We haven't offset everything else, so that actually seemed to have worked. So let's just correct everything else's offset. So then this can just be -8 and -8 and -8. All right. Kind of want some different music today. This is not what I feel. This is not the song of my heart. I want something, maybe some chill guitar music. This is a little country for me, but we're gonna give this radio a chance. I found a lot of like RimWorld quote-unquote music on this station. So what's happening in this corner here? Do you see this corner piece? Where it's like the back line stretches over the face of this? Doesn't make a ton of sense to me why that's happening. I'm pretty pleased with this dotted line look, though, as it moves around and repositions itself. I don't totally understand what's happening here. Like, we could look a little more closely at what's going on in terms of, like, a draw on, like, what's drawing, but my understanding is, so this dotted line that you see here that I would say is protruding, that's actually being drawn from one tile back and projected forward, right? And this tile should be getting drawn here. In front of it. Because it's not using that same trick. It's not being like projected from the back forward. This is just being drawn on the... Like this is anchored to the same tile here, ahead of it. So why? So why? So why is that considered... It's like a small thing, but it's kind of bothering me. Because it makes it look weird when you try to do something like this. It makes it look like you don't have it lined up right. Maybe I don't have it lined up right. No, it looks right from the front. So it is lined up right, at least in the front. Maybe there is something happening at the back here. It's a little unusual. Oh yeah, because it's also... The dotted line is going over the top here, and that shouldn't be happening. That should be getting drawn behind as well. Okay, so both of the Z layers are behaving a little weirdly. I didn't notice it before, but I see it now. Okay, so there's some Z indexing issues we're seeing with the... Oh, and that's because the Z layers aren't... Those are not being projected from the back forward. That's... okay. We need another solution for that. Okay. Okie doke. Quiet day today. We all are having a nice second half of your week here. This is kind of what I thought it was going to be yesterday. And then everyone kind of just popped in and said hi, which was really sweet because I hadn't streamed in like a week. All right, where am I? I don't even need to be in the code. This isn't a code problem. This is a tile. This is a different kind of problem. This is like a grid layer problem. So, yo, smooth in a second. I mean, I know you're there. You're reliable. I think I saw you sitting in the channel before I even went live. I have visibility into that sort of thing. I know who's lurking. All right, so I'm thinking what we could potentially do, and we'll probably suffer consequences for this later, but we could potentially do a little boost, give a little boost here, the Z indexes. Just up the Z axis Z-index. The Z-indexes for the Z faces. Man, some of these terms are deeply overloaded at this point. That might have unintended consequences later, but that's fine. It might fix our problem today. I think I went the wrong direction. I think I wanted to go down, not up. Yeah, yep. Oops. So Z. So are you actually going to be -1? Because that doesn't seem right, but let's try it. That is going to have some unintended consequences. Man, where's my RimWorld music? My non-copyright infringing RimWorld music that I like this radio station for. Yeah, so okay, so I can fix the back is the thing, but then the back looks right now, but now the front is wrong because the front is stuck here. Okay. So how am I going to fix both is the thing. I don't want to add a 4th layer. But honestly, we might need to do something like that. Because we're not making use of the projecting back or projecting forward. And the reason for the Z layers, and the reason I'm avoiding that is because what if you have like multiple boxes that are close to each other? Not like overlapping, but like close. Like within one tile. If I do it the way I'm thinking of, we have some problems with contention. And it would be really hard to detect those. But we do need some kind of solution. So I'm going to put this back to where it was. Now playing Without Problems by Sergio Ferraresi. Without Problems, what a great track name. I'm getting trolled by my own radio. Alright, so if we return to the status quo here, then we're back to... this is hard to see. Gotta launch full screen from here. So now the front works right, but the side works wrong. And that we need to fix. And there's no easy way to do that as long as we treat these as the same. I mean, I could just not allow for multi-selections, like for shift selection, like shift boxing multiple things, but I feel like that is the sort of thing you're going to want to do. Like you maybe shift box one room and like you box another room simultaneously because you're like, I want to grab all the crew members from these 2 rooms, but I don't want to grab all the crew members between the 2 rooms. So like that's something I want to support, but I'm having a hard time with the visualization of it based on what we've currently got going. So the problem is if, like I said, if we have a box here and then we have another box, if there's a 1 space gap and then another box, then we have this, and if we're placing everything from the outside looking in, basically, then we have this 1 tile that needs to project both forward and back. So I guess maybe that's the workaround, is you have separate layers for the forward projection and the back projection. I don't want to do that though either. But do we actually have that problem currently with the XYs? If we... Oh, this problem already exists. I just haven't run into it. We're already running into this problem with the other IC. Okay. I've spotted a problem. But can we fix it? I think the only solution is to have a foreground and background layered delineation, which is a little rough. We basically call it like X plus and X minus. It would solve the problem then, because we wouldn't need to worry about overlaps. Or not overlaps, but that case where there's like a tile, a gap, and then another tile. And then so if there's a tile, a gap, and then a tile, then if you're trying to draw from the outside in, from both, then on this one tile, you're trying to draw two different... It's really hard to describe for me, but I see this problem, so let's work on it. Because I want this boxing process to basically be done. I want to use this for everything. It's part of the autotiler. It will work for selecting things. It'll work for building things. It'll work for describing spaces, like if there's like an effect, if there's like a room-wide effect or something like that, or a multi-block effect. It'll work for that too. We have solid and dotted line versions of this, which I probably need to fix a little bit. So I want this to work. I want this to work well. So I think we need to do this. It's unfortunate because right now we're using tile layer numbers that don't match up. Or more specifically, we're converting numbers into tile layers. How many tile layers can I support with an enum? An enum is... I can support like 64 flags or something, right? Well, if it's an int 32, I can support 32 flags. But it's an enum, so it's like, this will just change to support whatever number I need, right? So if I exceed the flag count, it should be fine. I don't like this. I don't enjoy what we're about to do here, but it will probably be better. It does mean doubling the number of grid layers, though, which is a little rough. Then I really need some kind of multi-threading solution for updating tile map layers. I need to split the work over threads to do it instantly, or whether I want to do it instantly or over multiple frames, I need to start threading that work out. Or we're going to start running into hangups whenever we update everyone's tile map layer. Which we shouldn't need to do simultaneously, but we currently are. So this cast into a layer is not what I want. I'm doing a bad thing here where I'm using the numerical value of an enum for something. That is not good. Because the numerical value of like an enum flag, like a bit flag, or well, this isn't even a bit flag, is it? This one isn't even a flag. Okay. Well, since it's not a flag, I guess it's easier. So there can only be one of these. I need to see the uses of this. Hey, Fox Shadow, this text stuff looks nothing like FTL. Yeah, we're doing the text adventure version of FTL. basically reading Star Trek screenplays all day. How's it going, Fox Shadow? Yeah, here we're using the actual tile.layers. Here we're using the named versions. It's a problem. I almost need a different enum. I need like a grid. We could just cast the key here to the layer. I like this. The problem is when we're recording these as tiles, we have a problem. We have a slight problem. Fletcher CC. Oh, Fox Shadow, thank you for the subscribe. 3 months. Looking good. Looking good with that silver badge. You just typed an exclamation point and I just hear the Metal Gear Solid alert sound. Fletcher CC, hello. Did you know you can find a quantum particle that you could use to quantify the boson particle? I did not know that. Thank you for letting me know and for hopping in the chat. That's a bit over my head. All right, so we maybe need to refactor the tile struct, which right now takes a hard-coded tile layers layer. Maybe what we need is to define different layers and to just record a number in the tile layer. So you just have a layer number and then some kind of context. And then whatever system is contextually interpreting that number maps that number back to an actual enum. So maybe putting this in here is wrong. Maybe there needs to be like hull.layers and like grid.layers instead of tile.layers. Is maybe what we need to do to handle this, because we need to introduce more layers than we've got here. So instead of deck X, we need deck X minus and deck X plus, which I can't actually include here. Can I put it in here? No, that's not a valid enum name. Fox Shadow, you got around the Git issue you were having. Sweet. You just use VS Code's built-in version control instead of the Godot Git plugin. Awesome, I'm glad that worked out. Works great, though you still have yet to actually use VS Code for editing. Okay, you just use it for committing? Oh, that's funny. What's your preferred IDE then? I just happened to pay for Writer. I think if I hadn't paid for Writer for like the last like 4 years or something, I would probably just use VS Code. Or maybe I'd get into Vim. I don't know. You never know. You never know when it's a good time to get into Vim. Or I guess it's always a good time to get into Vim. You've only known Godot for coding, so VS Code is scary. Oh, okay. I used Writer in Unity for a long time, so I like it. I wouldn't say I'm familiar with it. Like, I'm certainly not an expert in it. All right, so what we need to do, and this is the unfortunate part, we need to start breaking everything. So what we need here is we need like deck layer -x, and deck layer. We could say like deck layer x minus. And then do like a deck layer X plus. And one would be like the foreground and one would be like the background. And that way we don't run into this contention issue. It's unfortunate, but it's not that much wasted space because deck layer or tilemap layers run off of like a dictionary basically. So you don't pay additional storage for just having a bunch of them, as long as you're using them, I guess. You don't even know what IDE is or whatever I said? Oh, that's just like in a development environment. That's just like the shorthand word for like Writer or VS Code or Visual Studio or whatever. I mean, Godot's is like built in, which is cool. And I actually like Godot's for, I constantly forget what how GDScript works. So I almost never use it, but I do like it. When I'm doing GDScript, I would rather do it just directly in the engine. Fox Shadow, all the colors are different, and apparently changing colors in VS Code is not simple. Wait, Writer? That looks like VS Code. Are they very similar? I haven't used VS Code a lot, but I think principally they're very similar. For Writer, you can just apply a theme. So I like this theme, which is admittedly too many colors. There's like hardly any white text. I think the only white text is local fields, like local variables. It's a little busy, but I use, what do I even use? I don't even remember, but I really like this theme. Appearance and behavior, appearance. I use the Nightfall theme. You can usually shop around and get a bunch of different themes for different IDEs. I'm sure VS Code is similar. Pretty sure there's even a VS Code theme for Writer, since so many people are used to that. And this is JetBrains Writer. JetBrains has a bunch of IDEs. Like their IntelliJ one is, I think, more general purpose. Writer is a little more specific in that it's like pretty much just for C#, I think, pretty much. I think you can use it for other things, but that's definitely its strength, is .NET stuff. All right, so I'm a little hesitant here to do this because this is about to be like a pretty big refactor. We basically need to split the layers here between hull layers and grid layers. And I'm not looking forward to that. Where even is the code for this? Okay, here we got hull. So we already have a hull class. So hull already is an enum, which is unfortunate. And it's outer, middle, or inner. And we use this 100 times. So we could do something different. We could have hull be like a class or whatever, and then make a couple different enums. So this could be, what would we call this? We'd call this like compartment or something like that. Because this is just what compartment, or I don't know, it's not really compartment, is it? It's like what hull layer. So we could say like hull.layer, which is confusing because that's also what we want to say here. So this would be hull. This is also hull layers. It's a little awkward. And then we also need grid layers, and the grid layers are what's going to be different. So maybe we start with that. Maybe we start with the grid layers. Let's make a grid enum or a grid struct. I don't know. Yeah, let's make an alternative to the tile struct, I guess. Actually, no, we don't want an alternative to the tile struct. The thing that we want is we want tile.layer to be just an int, and then we want to reinterpret it based on what kind of tile it is. Something like that. We want the system to reinterpret it. We don't want it to be like a core aspect of the thing. I actually don't know what I want to make right now. Let's set up the layers and then figure that out. So now we're going to have deck layer -x, deck layer plus x, or x plus, or whatever. I guess we could do plus x and -x, minus x. could have plus X. I don't love that as much, but it's maybe easier to read. Minus X plus X, and then we could have minus Y. And this is to prevent this contention issue that we're going to run into otherwise if we don't split the foreground and the background layers. So we want to remove this issue now, so it's not a problem later. The only unfortunate thing is it means a lot of layers. But that's fine. I think this is fine. All right, that's a lot. This is a lot of layers. All the ordering stuff should be correct because we duplicated. Yeah. Okay. All right, so then when we go in here, back to the tile system, grid layers is 12 now instead of 6. Which unfortunately means I do want to optimize this code eventually. Right now we have like a code block per layer, which feels terrible. But it does make it really clear what the difference in behavior is. But eventually, I think we should clean this up. Because we're doing a lot of loops. We could even, I mean, we could do all of this in a single loop. And do each of the behavior separately, but for right now, I don't care. I'd rather do a thing that's more obvious and modular and maintainable. So this is minus X. This is the minus X layer. 'Cause yeah, we're wasting a lot of lines of code here. And in fact, I'm going to copy this down, and then we're going to see how we change this code. How's everyone doing? How's your dev life been, Fox Shadow? I'm gonna check my coffee here. I think it's dead.
dead, Jim.
Yeah, the coffee is dead. Let's just put that away. Hendrik, hey, you're doing good, Brother Bear. Brother. That's good to hear, brother. Welcome in. Fox Shadow, dev life has been sucky. You're stuck on a stupid UI thing. I'm sorry to hear that. We're also, in theory, like, sort of stuck on a UI thing. We've been working on this for weeks. Getting this kind of line draw, debug draw, cube draw thing going. But yeah, I don't love Godot's UI system. I think it's smart. I don't think I've gotten my head around it. All right, so for negative x, if the coordinates exceed the minimum, then we just continue. And then this check is unnecessary. Yeah, I want to rewrite this to do less looping. Like in our original auto tile loop up here, we have it. We're doing it per layer. Like here, we're doing it per layer. We have like layer X, layer Y, layer Z, which is way more complicated than layer X or Y. And like here, it makes sense, but down here, it is not feeling as good. There's a lot of shared behavior down here that's making this feel a little less useful to do this, to break it out like this. Lubosh? Is that how that's pronounced? Welcome in. Hello. How's it going, everyone? Happy Thursday. Day of Dev. Like any other. Fox, you've been trying to design a dynamic store hanger system where you click on a component category and then the choices are listed. Then you click and compare equipment so you can customize your ship, similar to Armored Core 6. Oh, well, I mean, you're gonna just knock up the Armored Core 6 system. Which definitely didn't have dozens of people working on just that, probably. No, that seems like a really cool thing to try to do. That does seem hard, though. I'm pretty concerned about getting our palette system to work correctly. Yeah, very simple. Yeah. Do I use any software development architecture such as MVC or MVP? Define software architecture, MVC or MVP. I think the answer is no, because I'm not sure what this means. Model view controller and model view presenter. They organize an application's logic into distinct layers, but they differ in how these layers interact or controlled. MVC uses a controller to handle user input, while MVP uses a presenter to mediate between the view and the model. I'd probably use something like this. Well, I just need to understand a little bit more. So the MVC, the model represents the data and business logic of the application. Okay. View, the user interface that displays the data from the model. Controller, handles user input, processes it, updates the model, and selects the appropriate view to display. Versus the model view presenter. So the model is similar to the MVC, represents the data and business logic. View, the UI that interacts with the user and displays data. Presenter acts as an intermediary between the view and the model, processing user input and updating the view based on the model state. I definitely use something like this. I don't know which I would pick, but we definitely have that difference because we have a very clear delineation between the simulation and the presentation. So the simulation is like a separate world. So that's kind of different than how Godot would normally work. Normally in Godot, you would just have the nodes would handle the would be the representation as well as the elements of the simulation. But what we're doing is we actually are doing the simulation completely outside of the node tree. We're doing it in this .NET C# layer so that we can simulate really lightweight objects. We're actually using like an entity component system for that. And then the elements of that simulation that need to be viewed or interacted with are represented to the player separately. So there is a very clear distinction between the two. It's quite complicated at first. You used MPC at work to develop web applications in Java. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I definitely firmly believe in separating the quote-unquote model from the quote-unquote view. I think that's super helpful. It doesn't often happen in games. A lot of times in games, the model and the view are basically the same thing and there's no distinction, but I find the distinction to be very useful. And we've kind of developed a strange architecture to encourage that sort of thing. All right, so the -x layer doesn't need to make this max check here, because it will never be max. And so that goes away. If coords dot, so we're just comparing the x coords, right? Yeah, okay, so we get rid of this block. So we're splitting the foreground and the background elements of the outline right now. I actually want to kind of move things around a little bit here. Just moving things around a little bit. And then for the positive one, we know we can do this. And so we can get rid of this conditional. And so we can actually say source ID equals 1. And this is actually layer 1. It's very interesting. You're trying to learn Unity now. You find it quite chaotic. Yeah, Unity is tough, and it's a lot tough. It's tougher because they have like 3 different ways of doing everything. They have like, if you want to do UI, they have like 3 different ways to do UI, right? And that's rough. Cooley123, how long have you spent on this project? We've come up over about a year, probably a year. This version of the project we started in like February of 2024. And we've streamed 168 episodes of it. So we're about there. We're still working deeply on the tools. Right now we're working on an editor tool to build our 3-dimensional ships that we're using. And at this exact moment, we're working on a visualizer. So we can get rid of this. Key is going to be +2. In fact, we can put key down here because nothing else is dependent on it. And in fact, we don't really need to source ID at all, but I'd rather have the variable than the magic number just appear. I mean, we could actually just do it like this. Source ID equals 1. And then we could get rid of source ID if this is how it's going to be. Could actually get rid of this entirely. And in fact, alternative tile could also go away. So this will be 0, and this would be 0. It's also 0. All right, so this is negative x. Key stuff here is easy. So this is source ID 0, alternative tile ID 1. Can bring the key down. We're adding some additional layers here, and I'm just configuring them right now. So here we can copy and paste this. Layer 3, also known as positive y. In this case, we're going to ask if we're less than max dot y. Coords y plus 2 for the key. Those are the only real differences. Okay, so that's the decks. Bulks are the same, aren't they? Do they have any special behavior? I don't think so. Just their source IDs? Alright. So we need the Z layers here. So it's layer 4. Hey, Rhiannon Journey, how's it going? Oh, sorry, I missed your message, Fox. Your progress is just felt. Oh, you don't know if it is simple, or if you're just stupid or naive or what. I mean, that seems like a complicated system. I know it might appear simple. It's like the finished product might appear simple, but like everything underneath it is generally, I would err on the presumption that it's pretty complicated. Progress has just felt stagnant. Now the data system has been overhauled to make access easy, and changes are signaled via signals. Just a lot of back and forth. I think that's good. That sounds good, but I understand that's not very, like, exciting. I feel similarly, because the stuff we're doing right now is very unexciting. Source ID is 2 for now. This might actually need to change. So if coord.z is less than max z, or is this an or coords dot x? Oh no, it's or and or. Let's do it that way. Coords dot x is greater than min dot x, or no, and coords dot y is greater than min dot y, or coords dot z is less than max dot z. So if both of these, or this one, we continue. Learning a ton as always. The whole ECS thing I was working on, not exciting, but once up and running makes everything else easier. There's hope. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. You spend a lot of time laying foundations, and then you just have to take it seriously, because if the foundations are bad, then everything built on top of it is bad. So it's just serious work. And it's boring, but it's crucial. Rhiannon, you're doing good. You had a busy day at work, so you're gonna have to lurk. No worries. I appreciate the lurk. It's always nice to have you in the chat here. Our discoverability is getting better. I'm kind of shocked. More and more people are just popping in, catching us. I haven't seen before. It's really nice to see. Well, to anyone in here for the first time, we're working on an FTL-like. We're trying to make an isometric 3D variation of FTL faster than light. This is a very modular kind of 3D construction of these ships, and we're just working on a tool that allows us to do that. And right now I'm in the middle of a refactor, so everything's broken, so I'm not going to be showing anything. But this is the kind of stuff that we're working on and kind of the direction we're headed and where we're going. And I'll be very excited to work on some more gameplay system stuff soon. But right now we're just working on the tools. The very unsexy work of tools development. All right. So these can share a source ID. In fact, the other thing could share a source ID as well and just be a alternative tile. I actually don't know if you pay for having multiple source IDs if they're all really just referencing the same atlas. I presume not. Presume Godot is smart enough to not be duplicating resources like that. All right, so this is negative Z. Now we need positive Z. Also known in this case here. Well, actually it's not also known as anything. Oh, I need to fix the W. I haven't been updating the W's as I go along here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, layer 5, positive Z. That looks sick. Really appreciate that, CO? In what program do I create graphics? We use Sprite. Love Sprite. Sprite is our... I'm looking for a file I could show. Yeah, we like Sprite. So this is like where we did our bridge mockup file. We have some different color. Oh, that one's terrible. I don't know why I show that one. But we've tried some different layers. I like this. This is a new one. But yeah, we use Sprite. Love Sprite for pixel stuff. CO, are you sticking to real time with pause like FTL or experimenting with turn-based? We thought about turn-based. So we did kind of a cross-comparative analysis thing. Oh, this is the wrong... There we go. The wrong vault. So we did kind of a cross-comparison analysis between turn-based and real-time, which is somewhere. Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Because we have... Our main influence is obviously FTL, Fast and Light. But we also have a lot of Into the Breach influence, which is obviously turn-based. And we kind of looked at it, and we kind of did some comparisons. And we kind of ended up more thinking that we wanted to do FTL Fast and Light. So we are going to do pausable real-time. There's some really interesting benefits of doing a turn-based tactics game, like Into the Breach or something. But I think to capture that FTL feel, I don't think you can really do it other than doing pausable real-time. I think it's really hard to do it otherwise. I think I was led astray a little bit because we just look so much like Into the Breach with this isometric view. And there's definitely some cool things about turn-based tactics games, but I think I prefer pausable real-time. I think there's just a lot of advantages. And it's kind of one of those things, it's almost like an accessibility thing where like it's really up to the player what they want to do, right? Like people will have famous like no pause runs in FTL. And that's like a self-imposed difficulty thing. Yeah, I went back to pausable real time. I know, Fox. We've gone back and forth on it a lot. One of the reasons I want to do pausable real time is it's just more in line with the functionality of our entity component system. Like it's, I think, a lot more intuitive to run our systems that way in pausable real time rather than turn-based. Turn-based would almost have like, I know that's like a sunk cost thing, but turn-based would have like kind of, it would add so many gates and it would kind of just affect game flow in such a way that on the I just thought it was, I mean, I feel like we're equipped to do pausable real time with our entity component system, and it'll be easier to do things like model propagation of things like oxygen and fire. Like if everything is processing all at once all the time, I think that's just more intuitive than like turn-based. And it would have been fine, but it would have been like, we could have done a turn-based version of this game without our entity component system. We would have had probably a totally different architecture, honestly. Would have probably been easy. You're all for pausable real-time, even though you understood the previous arguments. The pausable real-time is just turn-based, but faster. Yeah. No, there's a strong argument to be said that pausable real-time is just turn-based with extra steps. And I still stand by that characterization, but I think it's different. And I think it lets you bypass the problem of like sequential turn resolution. There's a lot of things that happen whether you do a timeline style game where like different characters have like different initiative and they move at different times versus like another system where it's like we go, they go, where it's like all enemies take a turn and then all friendlies take a turn. And that has some like devastating potentially game ending things that occur when you do that. And then timeline style games are just kind of slow because there's all this downtime during animations and stuff. I don't know. I feel like we laid out a lot of the features in this pretty clearly. I don't know how easy it is to read, but or how important it is to read these. Oh, I'm blocking it with my big head. But yeah, I'm pleased with the cyclic game loop of a pausable real-time game, where it's like pause is your opportunity to reflect and respond, and then play is your opportunity to see the execution and outcome of the actions. XCOM has some really swinging gameplay. Exactly, Rhiannon Journey. Things can really swing really badly, and in a roguelike, I think that really matters. There are some major advantages to turn-based tactics. I think the most compelling advantages is around telegraphing movement, like being able to telegraph enemy movement. I think that's huge. And you can't really do that with pausable real time. But I think it's the only thing that feels really awkward to me with doing real time turn based is going to be turning the ship, because it's basically like there's gonna be a counter that counts down. It's gonna be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then all of a sudden everything turns 90 degrees. Like I think stuff like that, because we can't just have a smooth turn because of our art style. So there's some stuff that is going to be awkward. The best turn-based games out there are notorious for rage moments. Yeah. And XCOM is definitely the strongest example, because in XCOM, that might be the end of a 60-hour run that you've committed to. And it's just over because too many enemies went all at once and made too many shots. And I mean, not to say FTL doesn't have similar huge swingy movements where it's like, oh man, the enemy hit me with a flat gun and every single flak piece hit, and now my shields are down and now I'm dead. Like, and everything's on fire. Like, you can still get huge swings in FTL. That's more RNG based. And that I still want to think about. I want to minimize output randomness as much as possible. But I think that's a separate problem to the turn-based real-time nature of it. Oh yeah, when you miss the shot with 99% chance to hit. Yep. A 99% chance to hit is not a 100% chance to hit. Maybe it should be, but it's not. Yeah, that stuff is rough. I'm gonna try to avoid that kind of percent to hit stuff. I don't know how, because it's kind of exciting. I don't know how we're gonna balance that kind of stuff, but I really don't want to have percent-based output randomness. I don't know how we're gonna get around it, but I would much prefer something that's like granular, like into the breach. Something that's small numbers, it's granular, it's not like percentage-based. CO, how are you handling isometric grid logic? Custom math or using a framework? So we are using tile map layer. And tile map layer is a node in Godot that represents a single tile map, a vertical tile map layer. And here, I can kind of show you what we're doing. So I just need to disable something first. Well, and I need to get rid of compiler errors. Tile map layer in Godot lets you convert from screen space into tile space really easily. And that's what we're doing. All right, I think I did it. Should I just do it like this instead? I want to show you the autotiler. I just need to disable the thing that we're currently working on so I can do it. The thing we're currently working on is halfway done. All right, that should work. Hey, Frlansky! Percent base should be hidden. Yeah, I agree. How's it going? Oh yeah, load the photon torpedoes. We gotta ban someone over on Twitch here. Fire. Now. Got him. All right. So, CO. So what we have here is we have like stacks of tile map layers. And the tile map layer itself, he is dead, Jim. The tile map layers can convert from screen coordinates into tile map coordinates. So that's really easy to do. So we can do things like build this out. We can build a floor underneath it. So we're using just tons of layers of tile maps to make this all work. And then we can just keep going if we want. We have to add a floor here though. Shploop. We can go down, start hauling things out. Throwing in the... So we're doing... And for your model view distinction you were talking about earlier, we have that as well because this is just a view into the simulation state. It's not the model itself. So we can turn the camera and it will the autotiler will just redraw based on this camera view. We can do it again. And we have a cutaway system. So it's kind of all... We have a very strong system that's mediating, I would say, mediating between the view and the model. We still need to fix the rotation a little bit. It's a bit off-center. But we were talking about that earlier, about doing stuff like that. So we're kind of building this. There's definitely some visualization problems that we have to work out. I think the cutaway system is okay. I don't know if it's perfect. But we're definitely working on it. so we could make like hallways and stuff. I think I want some more options, some more like Sim style options for how to handle the viewport stuff. Because yeah, we do have visualization problems that other games don't have. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on just the auto tiling part of this for months. But it's a strong framework. Smooth as an android's bottom. I get that reference. Thank you, Fox. Thank you for Lansky. Yeah, we've been working on it a long time. We're getting there. Right now, we're working on a outline box using the same autotiler to draw volumes, boxed volumes. It's broken right now because we're refactoring it. But I really appreciate everyone's vote of confidence here. It feels like it's we were talking about it earlier with working on tools and stuff. It just feels like you're going nowhere because you're just building affordances for yourself, and it's not until you use those affordances to do something that you feel like you've accomplished anything. How's it going, Leandro? I don't think I've said hey today. But yeah, we're very pleased with the autotiler. The only thing about it is it's trying to update like dozens of tile map layers on each frame. So we need to spread that out a little bit because we're going to start seeing some slowdown. But other than that, I'm very pleased with it. All right, deck layer plus Z. We need to change this so it needs to be it's less than max X and less than max Y. Or less than max Z. We continue. Oh. Less than. That means this is probably wrong. No, this is right. Berlansky, true, but better to sharpen the axe than just start smacking the tree. That's a good way to put it. All right. So these layers are exactly the same. I don't think anything is different with the bulk layers versus the deck layers. I'm like pretty certain they're carbon copies. So I'm pretty certain I can just delete all of this and copy over the new stuff. So then we just copy this over and this is the next 6 layers. Let me make sure, actually before I do that, let me make sure the W is right. It is. Great. It's a little inefficient that we have each of these loops coded out unrolled. They're like each version of the loop is separate, but I'm convinced that this is good for now because it's easy for me to understand and it's very modular, so it's easy to make a change to one thing. Whereas when I had these all rolled up into a single loop, there was just so much conditional logic that it was really hard to pull apart what was what. And so I think we could do better, but I think for now, until the system is mature, it's easier to just do it this way. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The bulk layer source ID I need to figure out. All right, let's look at our tile set. So, oh, this is also, actually, that's fine. That's fine. We're gonna mimic this tile set with the other one. Bulk front, bulk side, bulk Z. Back, front, Z. Okay. Back, front. So it's 3, 4, 5. So you're 3. Source ID 3. Source ID 3. Layer 7. Source ID 3. Oh. No, you're 4. And back to 3. Up to 8. All right, I got it. I got it. I'm pretty sure I got it. Source ID 4 to 9. We should be getting up to 11 at the end here. Source ID 5. And W is 10. Okay, this is maybe not what I want to listen to. I may be American. I don't know if I'm that American. I might turn it up a little bit. I do like this though. Chill vibes today, I think is what we got. Just max chill here. All right, and then your W is 11. Your source ID is 5. Okay, so we need to start dealing with this W factor here, which the tile is automatically converting into an enum, which we do not want. We want this to just stay as an int. And then if someone else wants to convert the W into an enum, they can do that. But I want the tile thing to just keep it. I want the tile thing to be multi-purpose. I want it to be agnostic towards the different kinds of tile constructs, whatever you want to call them. So we're going to go to tile, and instead of calling this tile.layers layer, it's just going to be an int. Same thing, so this conversion's not going to occur. Hopefully this is an implicit conversion, so the rest of the code, all 54 places where we do this, it'll just work, but it looks like maybe that's not the case. Okay, so what we need to do here is we need to say tile.layers, tile layer. So we just cast it. We probably have some more. What are these text? What's the TextMate bundle here? And whatever it is, we got to crash. Java. I'm not even using Java. Whatever. Clear. There should be some other problems here. I'm going to run this in... Well, hold on. Is this just going to work? I mean, it's almost certainly going to crash immediately. Okay. It's a little off. I don't know why it's a little off all of a sudden. I didn't change anything. Let's fix whatever that problem is. That is the Y? Or maybe the X. Actually, I'm not sure which side is experiencing that problem. But we only have a problem in one place, and we approximately know where it is, so let's go figure that out. This system should not be like 1,500 lines of code. This feels kind of blown out of proportion here. So how would there be a problem only on one part of this? Oh, well, for one thing, I didn't rename these. when I copied them. So layer 4, deck layer minus C. Layer 5, deck layer plus C. Layer 6, bulk layer negative X. Layer 7 is bulk layer. Bulks are our walls and decks are the floors. Bulk layer positive X. Layer 8. Bulk layer negative Y. We're using this number of layers for very good reason, I promise. 9. Bulk layer. It's to avoid some kind of Y sorting issues that we were having otherwise, as well as some other problems that would show up. So if coords.y is less than max.y, yeah, that's right. Layer 10 is bulk layer negative Z. Hope everyone's having a good time though today. Bulk layer plus Z. We really got to wrap this tool up relatively soon. That's like kind of a thing that we desperately need to work on, because we actually have a roadmap now. We have a roadmap, and we're working our way towards an alpha MVP launch. And we have 4 things that we want included in this alpha MVP here. This MVP, most minimum viable product. We have the tile block editor, which is what we're currently working on. We need the shipboard simulation, which is like you've built your ship. Now this is like the power simulation and the crew running around and stuff like that. And we need a little scenario editor, which is just an ability to lay out ships. Like, be like, I want to spawn this ship here and spawn this ship here, and this ship is an ally and this ship is an enemy. Like, just basic scenario editing. And then a little battlefield where the ships can actually interact. So it'd be like an external simulation where like a ship could target another ship and shoot stuff at it. And I want to do all this in a year. So it's already April. Our year starts and ends at GDC. So we're kind of already almost a month into this GDC year or whatever. So I really want to wrap up this block editor in the next month or two. And move on to this simulation, so that early next year we can have this MVP out there and actually have people playing it. I want to have a very public development of this game, because that's kind of the only way I'm going to get any kind of awareness about it. So I need to be a little more smart about my time, because before GDC, before the Game Developers Conference, I really didn't have a plan. It was just open-ended development. Rhiannon Journey, you will not suggest any more features for the editor. Yeah. I need to not suggest any more features for the editor either. I'm getting very carried away. All right, so why are we seeing a problem in just one area? Now that I've renamed these layers successfully. We're seeing a problem somewhere on the deck, and it's either the X or the Y. But we're only seeing the problem in the deck, not the bulk, which is curious. And we're seeing it in both the... It's probably plus Y is probably where this problem is. My guess is it's the plus Y layer. Oh no, it's the negative Y layer, I think, because this is not doing this. Oh wait, no, the negative Y layer is correct. And the key here, .y plus 2, that should be good. Alternative tile 1. If coords.y is less than max.y, continue. This is an annoying game of like spot the difference. Spot the difference in the code here. All right, I think we're changing the music. I think I want something a little different. Oh man, here's my RimWorld music I've been waiting for. Okay, this is a little more intense than I expected it to be. It's good. All right, let's understand what's happening here. So it's definitely the Y, and the Y is too far out. That could be an issue with the tile set, but it seems unlikely because it was working before. All right, so I think it's Y+. So let's look at Y+, because I think that's the layer that's causing the problem. Y+. Coords.y is less than max.y continue, sure. I think maybe this coords.y plus 2 is too much. What if we did this? Okay, that's right, but why? How is it right? That seems wrong. We're getting the correct behavior with the wrong input, and that makes me uncomfortable. Because if we go down here to the bulk layers, like bulk plus y, that says plus 2, and it's correct. So, what's up with that? How can it be so right when it feels so wrong? I know, to this day, there's this aspect of the AABB that I know is 100% wrong, and it gives us the correct behavior every time. And I'm like, Yeah, so this needs to be coords.y plus 2. Like, it has to be coords.y plus 2. But that is giving us the wrong behavior, and that's concerning. Let me see. Maybe there is a problem with the tile set. Maybe there's a problem with the source ID. 0 1 0 1 0. Ah, yeah. Okay, I'm using the wrong source ID. Cool. Easy. Because the different source IDs for the back and the foreground have different texture origins. And so we were using the wrong piece. Oh, what's happening back here? Okay, so we've achieved parity, feature parity. Now what we need to do is we need to change the way the Z layers work, because the Z layers are causing this strange Y sorting problem here. And this is what we're trying to address, is we're trying to fix this. So we need to change a few things to fix this. Baby, please don't go. I know this song. Hopefully this is the instrumental version. This is a little more intense than I expected. Yeah, that was... Oh, God. Here we go. I think I'm going to find... I just want to find something that's right in the middle. This is fun, though. I'm a little tired, so I'm trying to, like, hype myself up a little bit. We're getting dangerously close to electro swing territory. All right, let's fix this. So the thing we're currently doing is we're painting the whole tile. And what I actually want to do is just paint individual sides of it. So we need to change how this works here. And we're going to do that fairly simply. I say fairly simply, but we have to rebuild this whole source ID, this whole source thing. Should be fine. So the texture region is actually going to be 16 by 6. And then we need margins. So the margins are going to be like 64, maybe? 64 by 48, maybe? Wow, nailed it. Getting the hang of this. Getting the hang of this thing. All right. And then how are we going to do this? Let's go to our test, to a little test area here, a grid layer. So what we're looking at here, let's go to the tile set. Let's go to the setup. We just need to configure the, so we're going to say this is I'm actually not sure which side I want this on. This isn't exactly how I want to arrange this, but it's what we got here. So 0, 0, should that be just the negative? That's just min y or min x. Yeah. All right, so that's going to go there. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. This is going to go here. And now we're just going to manipulate the origins until it's where we want it to be. -9 feels wrong, but okay. Maybe it's this? This feels wrong. Oh, maybe this is right. Here we go. The only thing is, I believe this needs to be dropped a little bit. So this is back. So if I wanted to play this here, yeah, it would be down. So we need to drop this down. Glad I already added this section to the tile set here. Oh, this is not quite right, is it? This should actually be like this. These should actually overlap to an extent. Like this. I kind of want to change this file a little bit. I'm gonna change this real quick. Back in A-Sprite, our trusty A-Sprite. Grid tiles.ace. These are gonna get moved closer together here. Like this. Like that. There we go. All right, that's correct, but we just need to move it down one tile. So it needs to be like 10 or 6. I don't know, whatever. Go down. -6, okay. All right, that's it. That's it for that one. So now we need to do the same thing for the bulk. So the bulk is gonna change. Delete all these. I love how it says delete, but the delete key doesn't do anything. Like it says that it's bound to the delete key, and then pressing the delete key does nothing. It's like, I don't believe you. Maybe it's based on a physical key, because I have a very unusual keyboard. I have the same keyboard as Primogen. That's how you know. That's how you know I'm the real deal here. I can't use Vim, but I have a Kinesis. Oh, yeah, that's right. And then we just need an offset or margin or whatever. So margin 64 by 48. Now we're cooking. Turn these on. Set these up here. So we're going to place these down. We're going to place these here. In the same tile. And they're going to go up, down. The song that's playing right now is called La Beep Beep. La Beep Beep. I'm dying. I've died. All right, so we're aiming for this tile 3 above. 1, 2, 3, 3 above. Okay. Just gotta manipulate the texture origin here a little bit. I'm dying. Little beep beep. All right, and that's that for that. Let's clean up our little working area here. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, there you are. And let us, and now we just need to, now we just need the logic. Now we just need the logic. So -1, so the negative y is 0, 0. The negative x is 1, 0. Positive y is 0, 1. Or wait, is that the positive y? Oh, negative x is 0, 0. Negative y is 0, 1, 0. I feel like I did this in a way that I don't like, but that's fine. it will work for now. I want to redraw this atlas anyway eventually, if we're not going to be using the top half of it. I'd like to pack this a little differently. But for now, this will work. All right, so now we need to distinguish these layers a little more. So the bulk negative Z is going to ask, it's going to say, if we're not up against the X min, oh, this actually is more... Oh, I also messed this up here. Ooh, the Greek islands. This sounds dope. And is on point for a digital Iliad. All right, so now we have a foreground and background Z, so we don't need quite as much atlas coordinating here. Atlas coordinating. All right, so for this, if coords.x is greater than minimum and coords.y is greater than minimum, we skip. So do we need to know... Oh, it's a little awkward to do this with both foregrounds. We actually don't want to know about both of these, do we? I really don't want to do 4 layers for the Z. We shouldn't have to. We should be able to get away with just this. So we're going to say if coords.x is not equal to minimum.x. So if we're not at the minimum.x, previously we would add 1 to the x coords. So we're looking at our x coords. We actually, I guess we start here. We start presuming that we're at negative x. We're at the x min. So we just need to check for whether we are at the x max. If we're at the x max, oh, this is why I didn't want to do this with a single layer. Is because we need to do more than 1 tile per layer, but that's okay. I feel like that's a direction we're going to go into. Oh, is that a separate problem now? Hey, Ryson, how's it going? How's the jam going? Your stuff's looking great right now. I'm actually not 100%. I think we can continue on. I think I just need to detect if we are, which one of these we're trying to do. I think trying to do the problem is that if we're at a corner, we need to spawn 2 tiles. which we currently have not been doing as part of this process. We've had like a 1-to-1 ratio, but we could actually probably roll this up and use a system that's more like that, where we do a single loop through everything and we set up all the tiles necessary for a given cell with just a bunch of conditionals. I don't love that, and in fact, I'd rather not do that. But I think for the plus minus Z stuff, we can get away with it for now. So we basically need to add either 2 tiles, 1 tile, or no tiles. So we just need a quick check for that. What are we working on today? We're modifying the way the outline box works, so that it Y sorts correctly, and so that we can handle having more than one at the same time. So we've added some additional layers. We've split the foreground and the background layers so that if you have boxes or blocks that are close to each other, you don't end up getting this weird system where a tile on one layer needs to project in 2 directions, like. And we fixed that by splitting the foreground and the background layers. And now we're just working on the Z, because we need to change the way the Z layers worked. Instead of drawing it on the tile itself, we're doing the same thing we're doing for everything else, where we're either drawing one tile behind and projecting forward, or we're drawing one tile ahead and projecting backwards, so that we have the correct Y sorting happening. Because we were having some Y sorting issues, but now we're having this issue where each tile we look at for the Z needs to draw multiple, or each block we look at for the Z layer needs to draw multiple tiles, which is just not how we've been doing this so far. It's a little different. It's very doable. In fact, we should just be able to check. We should be able to just switch off of coordinates here. So what we can do is we can say if coords.x is equal to min.x, or, well, let's just do it this way. Let's move this up here. So if we're the negative coordinate, we don't need to do anything. We should be able to say either. We can say or coords.x is equal to max.x. So if either of those is true, what we can do is we can say atlas coords equals so if it's max, then we say it's atlas coords, or we say it's new vector 2i 1 1. Otherwise, it's vector 2i dot 0. Actually, that's not even a new vector. That is it. It's just vector 2i dot 1. So we just set that. And then we can say something similar. So if that's true, then what we have to do, though, is we have to go down here and do this stuff. So source ID for that would be the same. Alternative tile would be the same. Layer would be the same. this part is different. So this would be coords dot y plus 1 coords dot x plus 2. Now we do the same thing with the y, basically. All right, but what is... I feel like the atlas coordinates thing is a little different here. Should this just be... Should I have just done this with all tiles instead of having 4 different tiles here? Probably. The answer is probably. So 1, 0 or 0, 1. So it's 1, 0 if it's the negative y, or if it's the min y, and then it's 0, 1 if it's positive y. Okay. This is not how I like to use atlas coords. This is not how I like to organize anything. But here it would be, what did I say? 1, 0 or 0, 1. So it would be right or down, up. I don't know. Right or no, up. It's up, positive, or negative here. It's probably down. Vector 2i dot down, yeah, is 1. Okay, cool. 0, 1. Because of course it is. Annoyingly, vector 3i is totally different. I don't know what the hell is happening on the song, but I don't hate it. So hold on a second. This refers to the same... Oh, layer. Right. That's fine. It's actually fine. Counts key.z where it's been plus plus. Yep. Oh, hold on a second. This is just negative z, huh? So we can actually just say if coord.x is equal to min.x, we actually aren't checking the max. So if the min... Well, hold on. Let's copy this over to the next layer. Because I think I accidentally mixed some behavior here. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So what we're going to say here... We're going to just check to see if the x min... If the x is min, then we don't actually need to do this check. It's just going to be vector 2i.0. That's going to be coords.x. Is that right? Let's up this to the layer 11, because that's what it is. So here we're going to say if coords is equal to max, it's vector 2i.1. It's also this key here. This is kind of terrible, but we're going to test this and see if this works. And if it works, I don't care that it's terrible. Alright, we're going to try this first. This should just affect the top Z level. And yet, it seems to be affecting the bottom one. That doesn't make a ton of sense. Alright, what I did here is horrible. And seems to be breaking things. How it's breaking the deck... Oh, because yeah, okay. Well, let's fix this first. Let's look how the other one worked. I mean, that's actually not a great example, but let's look how this one works. So the negative X layer is 0 plus 1 to Y. Negative Z layer is... for the X min plus 1 to Y. Source ID 5. Alternative tile. All right, there seems to be a problem with the max version of this. Here's a definite problem. That's a problem right there. Okay, so the max is weirdly not drawing. Why? Why is that the case? Why is it only drawing at the corner? All right, is it has something to do with this continuation? Let's just get rid of the continue. See if we're erroneously earlying out. All right, that was it. So we're earlying out too soon, Executus. So why is this wrong? So if coords.x is greater than min.x and coords.y is greater than min.y, or coords.z is greater than min.z, continue. Oh. I see. I copied over a statement. Or I copied over the minimal one for the max. Which was wrong. right, now let's copy this back down to the deck. Being careful about that continue. This tells me that eventually we're going to collapse this into like a smaller number of iterations. Because the difference in the behavior is pretty minimal, and I think we can manage it. We just got to change this Z part here. This is in layer 10, so this is layer 4, which is deck layer minus Z. Source ID 2, layer 4, source ID 2. This is layer 5. Deck layer plus Z. Source ID 2, layer 5. Source ID 2, layer 5. Yeah, I actually don't really... Yeah, I don't know. We'll optimize this later. Once we're happy with the behavior. I think we've got it though, and I think we solved our Z indexing problems. We won't be able to see immediately, but maybe tomorrow it'll be obvious whether we've fixed the multi-selection box potential problem. All right, we got it. There's no more Y sorting issues around the corners, especially, which we were seeing. Can we handle? Yep. Okay. Sick. We fixed it. We did what we set out to do. You love to see it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. All right. Cool. Z stuff seems to be working just fine. You love to see it. I wasn't sold by the 2x2 dotted lines, but I actually kind of like them now. I think they would be too insubstantial if they were small, if they were single or 1x2s or whatever. Or 2x1s. I like it. I think it's all right. Thanks, Ryan and Journey. Yeah, there's no more Y sorting, which is great. We can't yet tell if we're not going to run into that other issue, but we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I'd like to get the selection boxing working. I mean, we could see if it'll work right now. But I want to set that one up with a solid line, not a dotted line. So we'll need to do a little more work to set up a solid line. Got to expand the tile set to include solid lines. And we might change the atlas a little bit. What we really need to do is the stuff that we had before that that could help you tell where you were in 3D. I'm not sure what we're gonna do for that, but I think we'll figure something out. All right. I think that's it for today. We're at our usual cutoff time here. I gotta get some lunch before going back to work. But simple progress. We doubled the number of grid layers, which isn't great, but we got the behavior we wanted out of it, so who cares? We managed to refactor the tile layer thing, which is cool, without any seemingly negative consequences, so it's pretty great. I think I'm calling that a win for today. We will be back tomorrow. So, what's today? Thursday? Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll get the solid line box going, and we'll use that for selection boxes, for like click dragging like areas within the construction. And you can right now you can copy and paste areas that you select, but I think I'd rather do a drag selection thing. Like you select out an area and then you click in that area and drag it and it moves it. I think I would prefer that. But if I'm not gonna have copy and paste, I at least need like a save selection as brush, which I think would be cool, and that'll be an interesting opportunity for working on our palette, our brush palette, or block palette, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, some cool stuff. Some cool stuff I think we can work on tomorrow and in the next week. But yeah. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Maximum off.